Pink isn't my usual go-to colour, but I've been inspired by some beautiful cards over on Instagram recently, particularly from Jenny from JC Cards, who's used some stunning bold colours, bright and beautiful, on her cards, so I wanted to emulate that today with this card. And I just saw this stamp set and thought it would look beautiful heat embossed. Welcome to my channel, Pretty Little Button, where I make paper crafting tutorials for the everyday crafter. So as I mentioned, it is part of the Altenew Exotic Garden blog hop, and I'll give details about that later on in the video. So I'm using the Enchanting Beauty stamp set here. It is absolutely stunning, and I just saw the design and thought it has to be heat embossed. And I decided, as I mentioned, I wanted to use a really bright pop of colour, and I'm using a really bright, vibrant pink here, almost a fuchsia pink cardstock. I think this is Azalea by Hero Hues. And I'm just stamping in embossing ink the very largest stamp from the stamp set, and then I'm covering it in some super fine embossing powder. So I'm using super fine because this stamp is so detailed. Super fine will keep that detail stamp when it's heat embossed. And of course, the beauty of the gold embossing powder as it melts on that bright pink and that stamp design just comes to life is just so mesmerising. So I also stamped a couple more of the stamped images from the set. I think it was a really long sort of leaf foliage, and again I stamped that on some pink cardstock as well and did exactly the same and just heat embossed it. Once I'd heat embossed these, I then used some ink just to brighten up and bring out some more vibrancy and a bit of depth around the heat embossing. So I'm just using a pink here. This is Pucker Up from Catherine Pooler Designs, but you can use any pink ink you have with a foam tool just to add a bit more blending and depth. This stamp set also comes with a coordinating die, and it's really easy to line up, and I die cut out the very large floral design and then also one of the taller, longer floral foliages as well. Now, to add a little bit more interest before I added this to a piece of card panel, I wanted to add a bit of depth to the background and interest. So I'm just using some ink blending tool along with some ink just to add some colour into one corner and fading this out so you're getting like an ombre look. So I'm using, again, I think it's Pucker Up ink, but again I say use any pink ink you have. And then I do go in with a darker ink. I think I used Peppermint Scrub, but any dark sort of maroony, purpley pink would work really well. It would fade out. And this just gives it a little bit more interest when you start overlaying the stamped and heat embossed designs, just to allow that to pop off the cardstock more. So just to add a little bit more interest, I decided I wanted to add sort of a bit of a very faint pattern to the background. Now to do this, I am using the Halftone stencil from Altenew, and I'm sort of positioning this at an angle across because I want the halftone to fade out with the ink blending, so it kind of mirrors that. So I'm doing it at an angle from the corner, and then I'm just using a few post-it notes just to cover up the areas of the card that hasn't got any stencil on, because I don't want to get any of what I'm going to do in a minute on those parts of the cardstock as well. To add a little bit of interest and to sort of mirror the gold heat embossing on the stamped images, I am using Altenew's Antique Gold ink spray. And this gives it's almost like a sort of an orangey gold, and it's absolutely beautiful. It pairs beautifully with the pink cardstock and that ombre ink blending we did. And I'm just shaking up really well just to get the ink and the metallic mixing. I'm spritzing off to one side to make sure that I've got a reasonably good control, and then I'm just spritzing it over the stencil. Now you could mop up what's on that stencil, you could press another piece of cardstock over to get the pattern, you could do all sorts. I'm just removing it here, but just bear in mind if you want to use that ink up, do. And obviously the magic happens when you peel it up and you can see it. Now it's quite faint here and it's quite wet. When you see it in the light, you can see that halftone look. And what I found was, one, I was too impatient, so I wanted to dry it anyway so I could get on with making the card. But as I dried it, it brought out the metallic gold even more so on the card. It absolutely looks beautiful. Now I got a little bit of smudging down in the corner with the spray through the stencil, and that's because I didn't really adhere it down completely, so there was that chance that some of the spray could seep under the stencil. But for me, it wasn't the end of the world because that was where I planned to place the stamp anyway. So when I come to layer everything up, that gets hidden because of the stamp. But you then have this beautiful sort of dotted ombre pattern fading out from that corner, which matches the ombre ink blending and just really adds so much interest and drama to that background. I'm using some of Altenew's foam tape to adhere the stamped image onto the front. It's really, really easy to cut down. It doesn't seem to gum up your scissors, which is brilliant. And then I'm just heat embossed a couple of sentiments from the stamp set. So I heat embossed See Beauty in Ordinary Things. I did this on white because I thought the white would really pop out from that pink as opposed to the black, which if I did it on black cardstock, I felt like it would be a bit too dark for this card. And then I embellished with a few clear gold sequins. As I mentioned, this is part of a log hop for Altenew. They're celebrating the release of their stamps, dies, stencils and embossing folders for May, and it's called Altenew Exotic Garden. Now, if you're watching this over on my YouTube channel, do make sure you check out my blog post. I'll have a link in the description box below. You need to go over to the blog, comment, and then you can hop along and you'll find the full hop list over there. They are giving away $300 in total worth of prizes. That includes giving away a $50 gift card to 2 lucky winners, as well as $25 gift cards. All the details will be announced over on my blog and you'll find out more details there. So let me know what you think about this. Is pink a colour that you like to use in your cards? Or are you like me and you shy away from those bolder cards? I really loved how this card turned out and I'm going to try and challenge myself more in the future. If you're new here, why not think about subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified when my next video is up. Until next time, happy crafting!